I'm Ryan. I'm back for my second Jazz Vinyl Finds video, and today is June 21st. Yesterday was June 20th, Eric Dolphy's 94th birthday, and honestly, I think that he still would have been here if not for how he passed away. Really, in my eyes, I think he was murdered, but he was in Europe, and the doctors over there, I think you could still consider them extremely racist. You can look the story up, but they thought that he was just a jazz artist that was a junkie, and I realized that a lot of them back then tended to be like that, but they didn't treat him for what he actually had, and he actually had diabetes. They thought he was just messing with drugs, but he wasn't. He never touched drugs. So you can look up more of his story. He's an amazing saxophonist, very underrated, misunderstood, probably one of my favorite saxophonists. I think he's up there with Train. I don't mean to put any bias in. That's my personal thought. I think it can be proved, honestly. But this is what I'm playing in the video, the Eric Dolphy Memorial album. I felt like it was only fitting, really. So that's what you'll be hearing in the background. So to start out, I mean, I have a small stack. It's not as big as my last stack. My last video was like half an hour long. I didn't think it'd be that long, but it was. So I think this will be like 15 minutes, somewhere around there. We'll see. So my first record is Clifford Brown, Max Roach at Basin Street. This is a first press on Emercy Records. It has the black text. So between 55 and 56, Emercy did away with the black text, and this would be considered the original because this was pressed around that. This came out around that time that they did away with it. So the vinyl is near mint. Really, honestly surprised me because the jacket is. The seller graded is VG+. It's not VG+. You can see the seam splits. You can see all of it. I mean, I know that Emercy albums tend to have more wear than most, but this is not VG+. It's got tape on it and everything. But I'm not gonna get too worked up about it, just for the fact that I know that Emercy albums are notorious for being like that. Maybe sometime down the road I'll find another one and replace the jacket, so not too worried. And my next one is Carlos Santana and Alice Coltrane, Illuminations. This is a promo copy on this Columbia label. So these pressings are notorious for having a bit of noise, but luckily mine looks like it was never touched, like the needle never even hit it, which I mean you think it would. It's a promo copy, but I got it for a deal, I think like $11.99. I knew about it, but I never decided to pick it up just because I knew for the fact that I could pick this up whenever I wanted. It's relatively cheap, so glad I picked it up though. It's amazing music. It's definitely something, not a setting you would usually see Alice Coltrane in. It's still psychedelic. There's a word for what you would call her music. I forget, but I mean it's not spiritual, but it's something between spiritual and psychedelic. So Carlos Santana and Alice Coltrane, amazing album. I'm actually surprised that it was as cheap as it was, but I understand, and maybe sometime we'll see a reissue. This would be a good contender for the Vinyl Me Please series that they're doing with the limited pressings and the subscribers and stuff like that. So maybe we'll see something like that. But actually, before I show this next one, in my last video, I talked about HR Records and how I went up there and they told me about how they were going to have that festival and Doug Karn was going to play. So I went up there and I seen Doug Karn. He was amazing, really. Probably one of the best organists, piano players. He's crazy at electric piano. I mean, he really surprised me. He played A Love Supreme, the whole thing, all 4 parts, and then he went into his Wayne Shorter stuff, all his infamous works and stuff like that. But when I was up there, they had a record fair, and I went through there one time in the beginning, and they didn't have much. I think it was overpicked. I got there like 20 minutes later, but at the end I found this, and this is a Record Store Day pressing of We Insist by Max Roach with Abby Lincoln and Coleman Hawkins and Olatunji, who I think plays conga on this album. But I'm kind of disappointed because I thought I didn't know where this was pressed at, but this has a stitching error. It has a few skips on one side actually, and I went on the Discogs page, and a lot of people were talking about how it had noise, but surprisingly my copy didn't have a lot of noise. It was just that I had the skips, so I'm happy with it. But maybe I'll get an earlier copy sometime down the road. I don't know. They are expensive though, and rightfully so. I mean, it's going up now because the civil rights era. I mean, that's just, it speaks more so now than ever, really. So the next one is Frank Foster, Manhattan Fever, and this is relatively cheap to get. I mean, I think I paid like $10 for this, which is why I got it. Blue notes are always good. I know that a lot of people look down on something like this, but it's amazing. Frank Foster, he played with Elvin Jones. He played with the greats too. And I think the drummer on here is Mickey Roker, who I love, honestly. He played on a Lee Morgan album. I think he played on Cornbread. Maybe that was Billy Higgins. But this is pretty good. Definitely overlooked. Even though it's cheap, I mean, you still get it. It's good music. Especially if you're going to complete the Blue Note catalog, which is a huge endeavor, but you gotta start somewhere, so I'm trying to just pick up things as I go. So I don't figure I'll complete it anytime soon, but that's like one of those things that I'd like to have done in like 30 years or something. I don't know if I'll still be collecting by then. I hope so, with the amount of money I spent and all that. But my next one is Herbie Hancock, Taking Off, with Dexter Gordon, Freddie Hubbard, Butch Warren, and Billy Higgins. And this is well, I thought it was a first press because the seller on eBay that I got it from pictured it as a first press. He didn't show side 1, but side 2 has deep groove. I'll pull it out so you can see it. There's side 1, no deep groove, and side 2's got the deep groove. So it's VG plus. I was lucky because the seller graded it as G plus, but it's not. I think I knew, I can usually pick up on how some sellers are, on how conservative they grade, so I got lucky with this. I think this is worth a lot more than I paid for it. At least paid $100 for it. That's what I paid for it. But I can't find the pressing page on Discogs, so maybe I'll make my own for that. The next one is Clifford Brown with strings, and this is a second press on Emersy with the black text and the black pictures. I have the first pressing, but it's beat. I got that real early on in my collecting, and it had a few skips on there, so I tried to fix it, but it was too far gone. So I'm glad I picked this up. This is a very, in my eyes, I see it as a top 10 jazz albums of all time. You watch a Wynton Marsalis album, I say album, you watch a Wynton Marsalis interview, or really even any artist, and most of them can recall how monumental this album was in their career, how this made them play, how it inspired them and stuff like that. So for that, I see this as an important piece of like jazz history. It's definitely overlooked. I thought it would be more expensive than it is. I paid $60 for it. The high end on the first pressing on Discogs is $100. And there's a story to go along with this too. Clifford Brown made this album so that he could have a kid with his wife. And I think it was like 6 months after he met LaRue, his wife, he wanted a kid, and she said that to have a kid you got to record with strings. And so he went in the studio and did this. And this is like amazing. I just don't understand how somebody can do that. You have to be a different, like, this guy's not even human. He's like, Clifford Brown's playing is just so crazy. He inspired a whole generation of trumpet players. And actually in the future I want to do a video on Clifford Brown, just because personally I see him as I see him as the top 5 jazz artist of all time. Probably one of my favorite trumpeters of all time. It's like creeping up there with Lee Morgan. I love Lee Morgan's playing, but I feel like Clifford Brown is more influential. And Lee Morgan, of course, had a longer career than Clifford Brown. Clifford Brown, he died when he was 25. And I just can't imagine the stuff that he could record back then to like something like Coltrane's Impulse era. We could have seen him on some crazy albums. He could have done some amazing things. And honestly, I think he did, because like I said, he inspired a whole generation of trumpet players. Speaking of Clifford Brown, though, the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival was this past week, and I went to the first day of it. And the first day, they had a documentary, and it was called Brownie Speaks. I went there and I watched the movie, and it was just so moving. I've never watched something that's been so impactful, other than the Coltrane documentary, Chasing Train. But this is amazing. Like, I paid $30 for it on jazzbooks.com. You can't find this on Amazon or eBay. So if you want it, you're going to have to pay $30 for it, which is, in my opinion, worth it, because the material on here is just out of this world. You get to hear Clifford Brown singing. Like, I don't know where else you could hear that. And then in this movie, in this documentary, you hear so much stuff that you would never think of. I mean, Clifford Brown played with Coltrane at Ocean City. I would have never expected it. I really have. If that's what they said, like, if that's true, who else could he have played with? Because, I mean, playing with Coltrane, and he was only like 18 at the time that he played with Train. He played with, I forget his teacher's name. He's also from Delaware, and I think they both went up to Ocean City at the same time, and they played with Coltrane. And he was talking about how he, just how they would talk Clifford Brown up for being able to play with somebody like that. Coltrane was still like one of the top artists in the 50s. Even before his recording took off, he was like world renowned. I mean, not world renowned, but he was known by communities and everything like that. Like, if you were in the jazz, if you knew about jazz back then, I'm sure that you would have known about Coltrane before he even got on an album. But anyway, I need to stop my rambling. I'll come back to Clifford Brown in a few minutes, but this is my next find, Today and Tomorrow by McCoy Tyner. And in my first video, my Jazz Vinyl Tag 2022, I was talking about how this is one of the albums that I really wanted. I've been wanting this for a long time, and I ended up getting a good deal on a second pressing. It's a VG Plus copy, but it has the A, as you can see. So I'm still happy with it, because I know a lot of people, sometimes they end up with the 70s pressing of this. So I'm just glad I got one with the Van Gelder stamp. It sounds amazing too. I had streamed this so much last year. This is probably one of my top listened to albums on Spotify. So I'm just so glad that I could finally get it on vinyl. But I did want a mono copy, but this is stereo. So maybe I'll see this as a filler copy or something like that. My next one is Bud Powell Volume 3, and this is a Liberty copy, but something that surprised me was Curtis Fuller's on here. And like I said in my last video, I've been getting into Curtis Fuller, and I actually have some other albums with Curtis Fuller, but I don't want to show those just yet, because they have Coltrane on them, and I don't want to. I plan on doing a video going over Coltrane's full discography, and I'm hesitating on showing my Coltrane stuff on videos like these. So, but anyway, amazing album. No Van Gelder stamp. I don't think there was ever one, because I don't know if he mastered this. I'm not too sure. But anyway, glad I got it. It was a good deal. think, I'm trying to remember who else was on here. Art Taylor and Paul Chambers. I thought it was Sonny Rollins before I got it, but I think Sonny Rollins is on his 10-inch on Blue Note. So next one is Jackie McLean, New Soil. This is a second pressing. I know it's a second pressing, but I forget why it was. I think it was because of the R, the copyright R, right here. So it's like a G+ copy. It's amazing, amazing stuff. Donald Byrd's on here. I don't really have too many Blue Note albums with Donald Byrd on here. I mean, with Donald Byrd on an album in particular, but this is an amazing one. Walter Davis Jr., who I usually don't see on Blue Note albums. I know he had his solo stuff, but it's amazing. Pete LaRocca and Paul Chambers. It seems that Paul Chambers is really on everything anymore. I mean, not anymore, because obviously we're past that, but he just seems like he was really one of the only bassists that was really available for any recording sessions. I mean, the only other ones I can think of was like Butch Warren and I think maybe Doug Watkins, but I think he was only on Prestige. But needed to get something to drink. I've been talking too much. But next one is Charles Tolliver, Music Inc., Compassion. And this is something that I got, I think like a few days after my last video. And I went up there to my local shop, and it's about an hour away. And they posted a video on Instagram, like a flip-through video or something. And I seen this in there. I thought it'd be gone, but it wasn't. So I went up there, got this, and then I got Breaking Point by Freddie Hubbard too as well. So it was a nice trip up there. This is near mint, and it's on the 80s Strata-East. So extremely happy with it. There's no really other way to hear it because the Strata-East recordings aren't on Spotify. At least most of them aren't, from my knowledge. I'm not sure, but I listened to, I think, what was it? I think it was Earl's World. I listened to on YouTube, and Compassion, and the guitarist on here is Nathan Page. He recorded a few albums for Black Jazz, I think, so it was very surprising to hear him on here. He has like a intro solo that's just out of this world, really. So I'm glad I could get this. Amazing music. It's kind of different compared to some other stuff that I know is on Strata-East, but this is amazing. It's not too out there, but it's like just right. It's a sweet spot. Like, I mean, I love stuff that's out there. Like, I love Albert Eiler and stuff like that, but this is like a sweet spot. Like, if you don't like free jazz or anything like that, something like this would probably be perfect for you, especially if you want to get into that. But anyway, my next two I got in the same trip, actually. So this is The Night of the Cookers Volume 2, and this still has the Van Gelder stamp, but it's on the white B. So it's like VG+. Happy with it. It only has 2 songs though, so it kind of surprised me. This is like one of those super group lineups. Freddie Hubbard, Lee Morgan, James Spaulding, Harold Mayburn Jr., Larry Ridley, Pete LaRocca, and Big Black. I think Big Black played conga. I'm not too sure who Larry Ridley is. I should know, but I don't know off the top of my head. But anyway, amazing record. The next one is Donald Byrd, The Half Note Cafe, Jazz on the Waterfront with Pepper Adams, Duke Pearson, Layman Jackson, and Lex Humphreys. And this is a pretty beat copy, if I'm being honest. It's probably good, like just G. But it plays through fine. Anything with the P still plays good. So you can see the tape around the edges. I was kind of weary on that fact, but it's good. I think I got it for $10, so I'm not complaining. Then I got a few things I could go to next. I think I'm going to go to this. So I was talking about the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival and all that. And they had a few Blue Note recording artists come there, like Regina Carter, Stanley Clark, Joe Chambers, but on Saturday they had Emmanuel Wilkins come play, and Emmanuel Wilkins is one of my favorite saxophonists of all time, especially in modern jazz. So I went up there, and I was debating on bringing my record up there to get signed and meet him and all that, but I didn't bring my record up there, and I'm kind of upset about that because I'd love to have a signed record, but I ended up getting his CD signed, and I met him. Maybe I can put a video in here and a picture that my father took because he went with me. But Emmanuel Wilkins, he's very humble. He's an amazing musician. He like backed off the stage when like Micah Thomas, that's his piano player. Every time one of the other musicians took a solo or something like that, he would back off the stage and let them have the light, really. So somebody like that, you don't see a musician like that really these days. And something that really surprised me was that he plays free. Like on this album, he plays a little bit free, but him in a live setting is amazing. He's a genius. I mean, he's up there with Coltrane in my eyes. I know I've said that a lot about a lot of people, like Eric Dolphy, but Emmanuel Wilkins, he's only like 24 or 25, and he plays like a veteran. It doesn't make sense to me, but it surprised me so much because he's amazing. I mean, I know he's amazing because The Seventh Hand, which is this album that he came out with recently, is amazing. It's unlike anything out today, and it's modern. It's not like he's copying off the greats or anything. He's paying respect in a way because his music, you can hear like Ornette Coleman and ideas floating around that kind of resemble that era, but he's good. I mean, I really have nothing else to say, but I'm glad I met him. Amazing musician. And Micah Thomas, his piano player, he plays like Bill Evans, he's over the keys like Bill Evans. Him live, it kind of reminds me of the Bill Evans trio live at the Village Vanguard. So if you took that album and put Emmanuel Wilkins on there, it'd kind of be like that, like when I seen him. So I definitely liked hearing Micah Thomas and Emmanuel Wilkins together. They played on this album, but I don't know if they played on his last album. It was called Omega, which I have, but I don't play too much, honestly, because I just stream it. It's one of those albums that I just throw on whenever. But anyway, I've been talking too much. So, and out the video. Here's what I've been waiting for, really. And I got this from somebody in Spain, a Discog seller over in Spain. This would be considered probably like a fourth press if you're counting the transition labels and all that. But in my eyes, personally, I think it's probably like a second or third, something like that. And the seller put it as VG plus. It's not VG plus. It's near mint. So I'm extremely happy with this. I haven't played it yet. I'm going to right after this video. I'm going to clean it and put it on the table. But that's what I've been waiting for. Really been into Clifford Brown. Like I said, he's probably one of the most important jazz musicians of all time. And really underrated too. But I said I was going to end out the video with that. But I forgot about this. I got McCoy Tyner's autographed copy of Expansions. This is a second press, and as you can see, there's a menu here, and it says the East, which was a black nationalist place where you could come and you'd be comfortable because the racism back then, it was just so ridiculous. So they made this place where people of color could come together and be in a community. And there'd be live music, food. But I went on Wikipedia and I found another website too. and I found out that McCoy Tyner did play live at the East. There's actually another album called Pharoah Sanders Live at the East or something like that. So this is like, usually when you get an autograph, you want the little sticker, like the authentication sticker or whatever. But for me, this is the authentication sticker, because he played at the East, and then there's an East menu from the same day. So, and then there's his autograph. I really don't even know what to say. One of the best pianists of all time. Honestly, I've in my a few other videos that I made, my last two, I think I said that Sonny Clark and Mal Waldron were my favorite pianists, but McCoy Tyner is, and he's overshadowed by Coltrane, and I think that for that's why I forgot to say that, but McCoy Tyner is one of my favorite pianists, probably my favorite pianist of all time. But like I said, he plays with Coltrane, and usually Coltrane takes the cake, and you usually don't think of McCoy Tyner, but sometimes you just gotta slow down and think about him. But that's my last record, and that's my second jazz recent vinyl find, so it's kind of emotional just with everything I've been getting. There's so many things that I never thought that I'd get. Like I had this on my wall, so you know how just crazy it is to get something like that. And then this Clifford Brown Memorial album, I never would have thought I would have got this, but I got it for a deal. So I haven't been spending too much money either, so I've just been getting things for deals lately. Kind of been slowing down a little bit, so, and I see I'm almost at the 30-minute mark, so, but thank you for watching.